Hello everyone, I'm happy to be in front of you today to talk about the new ESG app. So ESG for environment, social and governance impact of companies. So I'm Jade van den Eed and I'm working at Odoo for 1 year now, and I'm the product owner of this app, and aside to that I'm also the product owner of industries, but also of the phone app, so the voice over IP. So before start, don't hesitate to scan this QR code if you want to put all your questions, and we will have time after the presentation to discuss them together. So now, today we will see how we will present this app and to see what is it, why this impact matters today, and also how it works. So this is the agenda for today. So first I will show you and explain you a little bit the ESG basics, just to make sure that we are all aligned about the different terms, because of course as it's like there are a lot of regulation, it's really specific, and it's just so that I'm sure that you understand everything before starting the demonstration and also show you the feature. Then I will explain you the carbon footprint tool, so the tool that will help you to measure all your emission emitted by your company alongside your value chain. And after that I will do a quick demo about this tool directly on Odoo. Then I will talk about the CSRD. So CSRD, the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. So it will be a sneak peek because it's not in the 19 version, but it will be in the 19.1 version. And I will also explain you the key concepts of this reporting, but also show you the tool to be compliant in terms of European framework. And I will do a demo right after. So what's ESG? So of course ESG is for the environment, social and governance impact of a company. By environment we are talking about the climate change, the pollution in general, the resource use, carbon emission, biodiversity and so on. For the social, we are talking about employees, like employee well-being, the diversity, but also if there are some training and opportunity to grow inside your company, and supply chain labor practices. And finally, we will discuss about the governance side. So this is all about transparency, the anti-corruption and the ethics in general. So why it matters today? So of course, I don't know if you have already heard about that, but there is new European regulation about this CSRD. Some regulation that will be mandatory and some voluntary. And this regulation will need to follow the standard framework. Then we have the pressure from your investor and your customer, because as investor want to know like if there is some risk in your project before investing in it. And also for customers, they are more and more aware about this impact, and they want to include this impact directly in their purchase decision. And last thing, so of course it's a business opportunity, because for example, if you make more efficient energy use, you will reduce your cost, but also if you have good labor practices, you will have a better retention of your employees, and transparency could lead to trust and loyalty in your company. So now I will show you a quick video about the ESG, so the app, the concept and the feature on the app.
Did you know that companies in the European Union will soon have to comply with new regulations and report on their environmental, social and governance practices? Here at Odoo, we've created a brand new ESG app designed to help companies measure and report their ESG footprint. Today, we'll show you how Odoo automates complex ESG reporting to save you time and money. Calculate your CO2 emissions in real time, find and assign emission factors to your activities manually or with AI, export your reports in one click, and more. But before we introduce this new app, let's start with the basics. What is ESG exactly? And why does it matter for your business? To tell us more, we've invited Thibaut Fretter. He's an environmental expert in the healthcare sector and a lecturer at the University of Namur in Belgium.
ESG stands for Environmental, Social and Governance. It's basically a translation of the concept of sustainability in the corporate area. Lawmakers such as the European Union are currently crafting regulation that will soon make it mandatory for corporations to provide their annual ESG report. Think of it as a balance sheet for sustainability. So you must know that in the next few years, thousands of companies, starting with the largest corporations, will be required to comply with these regulations. And it will also impact smaller companies included in the value chain of big corporations. Creating an ESG report is a major project, especially for companies doing it for the first time. It typically involves internal and external experts such as HR, accounting, purchases, technical maintenance, and many more. It requires gathering hundreds of data points that are usually uncommon for a company to deal with. So it's difficult to know what to take into account and how this data will be computed. Take company computers, for example. They are usually seen as simple purchases, but ESG reports require a deeper look. What's the carbon footprint? Who supplies them? This means it's tedious work that takes a lot of time and money, and you have to do it again every year. So, what are the main challenges of ESG reporting? It's time-consuming. You have to source all the data and work with various departments. You have to update it every year. The report format has to comply with the regulation, and it costs a lot of money.
Yes, as Thibaut explained, producing an ESG report is both time-consuming and costly. Companies typically spend around 500 euros per month just on ESG data collection and reporting. But with Odoo, this cost is now reduced to just 20 euros per month. So how could you gather hundreds of data points and compile them more quickly and efficiently? As always with Odoo, the answer is integration. In fact, most of the data required for your ESG reporting is already in your database, and everything is automatically sent to your ESG app. So let's start with the biggest category of ESG reporting, environment. Your carbon footprint covers everything: purchases, commuting, electricity, and more. Each gets an emission factor that shows how much greenhouse gas it produces, measured in CO2 equivalent. But don't worry, you don't have to guess all of those emission factors by yourself. Odoo allows you to install massive databases such as the international IPCC and the European ADEME. With one click, you get access to emission factors for thousands of items. This covers everything, from printer paper to raw materials like steel if you manufacture plumbing pipes, for example. When those data are installed in Odoo, you can easily assign an emission factor to any of your purchases. For example, this laptop you purchase for all of your employees has a carbon footprint of 156 kilograms of CO2 equivalent. And you know what's even better? You don't even have to assign all the emission factors yourself. Just let the AI help you. So from now on, every laptop purchase has its carbon footprint calculated automatically. This calculation is done for all your purchases. So your carbon footprint is always up to date, as all data is synced in real time and you can export it in just one click. And the good news is, all your configurations are automatically reused annually, so you don't have to start from scratch every year. On top of environmental metrics, Odoo ESG also measures factors like gender parity and pay gap. It automatically pulls data from apps such as employees and payroll to generate real-time reports. And for companies that need to provide a CSRD report to comply with new EU regulations, Odoo makes it simple. You can easily generate reports that follow the European framework using data gathered in the ESG app along with everything else from your database. This way, you save valuable time on data collection. And there's even more. The Initiatives module helps you gather and implement new ideas to reduce your company's carbon footprint. So get ready for upcoming EU regulations. Discover Odoo ESG today at odoo.com.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. So now let's move on the carbon footprint tool. So the tool will help you to measure all your emission of your company alongside your value chain. So from your upstream activities company reporting to your downstream activities. So this emission will be calculated about 3 different scopes. The first one is the direct emission. So what a company emits on its own. So, for example, the company vehicle. Then we have the second scope, so the indirect emission about all the electricity that a company purchases. And then we have the scope 3, so all about the other emission. So emission emitted by the indirectly by the company with their activities. So for that we have the transportation, but also the purchase, the capital good, and so on. So with this tool will be integrated with the accounting app, so we'll be able to extract all data from accounting to measure all this emission, but also with the fleet app and the employee app for the employee commuting emission. And also, for example, some emissions are more difficult to calculate, the waste generated in operation. So this is not, we are not able to do that automatically. So for that, we will allow to add this emission manually in the app. So this is the emission factor. So this emission factor will help you to multiply your activity to then have your emission. So this emission factor will come from 2 certified databases. So the ADEME database and the IPCC database. ADEME is more for France and IPCC is more international. And so this emission factor has all the activity type concerning one activity. For example, the production of the activity, the transport of the activity, the material that we need to do that activity, and we have the total in kilogram of CO2 equivalent. And how to link this emission factor to what you have in your database thanks to assignation rule. So here you can see that there is different assignation rule based on product, partner, and account, which means that when I will receive a bill about computer product, each time that I will receive this bill, automatically the computer emission factor will be applied to what I have buy. So here you have the full calculation. So here we have by some electricity. So you have your electricity consumption multiplied by your emission factor about this electricity, and then you have your total in emission directly in the ESG app. And then when you have complete all of your emission, you can generate your carbon footprint report. So this is the carbon footprint report, and this report meets all the requirements from the GHG protocol, so more international, but also from the Le Bilan Carbone method, more French. And so, as we can see, the carbon footprint is categorized by scope, but also it's report in ton per CO2 equivalent. You also have the comparison with the base year, because when you are calculating your carbon footprint, you don't have to calculate based on the previous year, but you have to calculate it based on a base year that you select by yourself. So now I will show you it directly on the app. Cool. So as I showed you before, so this is the source database. So you can see that just by clicking on the download button, you will have directly all your emission factor from that database. So I can see that for ADEME, for example, I have already downloaded it. And when I come back to my emission factor, I have 6,000 emission factor directly in my database. If I'm looking for a specific emission factor, let's say a share wood. So we can see that this emission factor contains the different activity type. We are also talking about CO2 equivalent because, of course, in a carbon footprint, there is not only carbon, but there is also other gases. And so we develop a way here to report on all these gases, to make sure that we have all this information also about the 6 gases from the Kyoto Protocol, so something that you have to report directly in your carbon footprint alongside the GHG protocol. So when you go to the assignation rule, I will do an example for you now. So I will assign this Sherwood to my product office share. So I will put this here, I will save, and then when I will go to my accounting app, and then I create a bill, I select furniture vendor, and I will put my office share. Let's say that I buy 150, and when I confirm, then I can see that I have emit, based on that bill, around 2,000 kilograms of CO2 equivalent. And if I click on it, I have already this emission on my ESG emission list. So now, if sometimes you receive some expense from your employee, so, for example, here I create an expense, train tickets, for 150 euros. And when I submit it, I approve, I put journal entry. And for this, if I come back to my ESG app, I can see that I have my expense directly on my emission list. And now I will able also to put an emission factor by myself, because when you are looking into that field to search for emission factor, this will be linked to all your emission factor from that ADEME database. So I will look for train, and when I click on that, I will also have directly my total of emission. So now I will also show you the advantage to do that on Odoo, because it's integrated with different apps. And as I said, this application is linked with the employee and the fleet application. So this, thanks to this, we are able to have a clear vision of the employee commuting emission. So sometimes something difficult to calculate, because it's difficult to know, okay, this employee come 3 times a week, and like her distance from home to work is X kilometer. So thanks to Odoo, in the employee application, if I take the example of Abigail, I can see that in the personal information, there is the home work distance here, and there is a car linked to this employee. And so we can see that there is this model of car. And in the model, you have, that this model emits specifically 134 grams per kilometer. And so thanks to this information, and also thanks to the settings that I have put here, so an average of the day where your employee come to work, we have done a calculation in the tool, and when you click on that, you have all the data report there. And so now I want to link that table to your emission list. So how I can do that? I will add directly the emission. So I want to add the emission for the August month, for example. I will put here the date of emission. And so now, if you come back to your data, you can see the last one, that your employee commuting is well reported on that list. So now, as it's a little bit like accounting bilan, you want to see if you are up to date about all this calculation. So to do that, I have this smart button on my dashboard to see which kind of emission that I have to define. So here are all my emissions for which an emission factor is missing. So I can do that directly from here. So for example, I can select my computer, search for a computer emission factor, I update, and then boom, there is the right emission factor. But you can tell me that okay, it's cool, but it takes time because you have 6,000 emission factor, and you always need to do this link between what you buy and all this emission. But so for that, we will develop in 19.1 version AI tool to help you to when you will be here, AI will propose you an emission factor that is the most relevant for that emission. And based on that result, if you are happy with that, you can assign a rule of it. So the system will remind that there is already a rule for that. So if I receive another bill for the same product, directly the right emission will be assigned to that activity. So now, this is the analysis that you can see on the app. And something that is really cool is that as you have mapped all your emission factor at the beginning of the year. Then during the year you have report on all your emission. So each time that you will emit something, you can see the impact in real time. So if you want to act on some data, or if you want to see, okay, I emit the most in that activity time, for example, so here in energy, transparent and trends, I can directly act on this site and have an impact on my carbon emission of my company. And then, by the end of the year, this is for after, I can have my full carbon footprint report, and as I said, as it's aligned with the GHG protocol, but also the Le Bilan Carbone method, I can have all the right information that you need, and here you can add the base year, but you can also break down the emission per different gases. So if I check these gases, I can see that. I can see that you will have the breakdown per gases for all emission. So if I remove up, and when you telecharge your PDF, and now you have your right PDF ready to be sent to authorities. Cool. So now we are okay for the carbon footprint. And then now I will show you a sneak preview on the CSRD and VSME. But this is a preview because, as I said, it's not already live, and it will be live for the 19.1 Odoo version. So first, why is it and why it matters today? So CSRD is like the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, and it's a European report in which you have to follow some standard framework called ESRD to report on this ESG impact. And this big report is most for large and some mid-sized firms, but I will show you right after a timeline with the criteria. Then we have the VSME. So VSME is volunteering standard for small and medium enterprise. But you can tell me like, okay, but why you have integrated volunteer report in Odoo? It's because as big companies have to report on their impact, they also need to report on the impact from their supplier, but also customer. And du coup, And so, thanks to the VSME, the smaller company that sometimes don't have time and money to do the full CSRD, they will be able to do that volunteering report to provide this data directly to bigger company. And also, as I said, as investors want to see that before investing in a project is also good to have. And the VSME is a lighter version of the CSRD. So if you do the CSRD, it's also, of course, aligned with the VSME. So this is the reporting timeline. So now in 2025, so we have already some reports, like the first CSRD report, because the company that were already that need already report on the NFRD, so non-financial report directive, will have to report on that CSRD for that year and report on the 2024 year. And then in 2028, larger company like Odoo, for example, will have to report because the company that will have to report have to answer to this minimum to these two criteria. And so they have to report in 2028, but on the 2027 year. And then for a smaller company, but listed small company, it's in 2029. So now let's go deeper in the CSRD journey. So also here I will show you explain you the first terms of CSRD, but also the different steps, so that you are all aligned about the process. So first you want to understand your company. And how to do that? So first you will define your scope. So define your countries, but also define your operation, like if you are a company for production, if you are a company for research and development. And then also you will have to identify your key activities. Then map your stakeholders, because during this process you also want to engage your employee, your supplier, customer, your investors. And then you have to highlight your critical materials. So, for example, if I'm producing some smartphone, I will have to say that, okay, I have some lithium in my value chain. It's something that is good to know to report on the CSRD. So this is the key sustainability topic on which a company needs to report. So it's always categorized in the three pillars: so environment, social, and governance. And so this is the official framework that we have used inside Odoo. So if I take an example, the first one, so the climate change. For the climate change, I have to talk about, okay, what is the impact, the risk, and the opportunity of my employee according this topic. So I did an example. For the climate change, I can say that, okay, the impact of the climate change could be the carbon emission. And so now I will do and figure out what really matter about all the topics, and so on which topic I have to report, because it's relevant for my company. So I take the carbon emission and I can see that, okay, what's the impact of this carbon emission on the environment, and also what's the impact of this carbon emission on my company in terms of finance. So for example, if I am an IT company and all my servers are located in Florida, of course, as there could be some flooding risk that could be really big. So now I can see that after doing these two impacts, I am just above the diagonal of this graph. So it means that I have to report on that topic because it's relevant for my company. And of course, you don't have to do that alone. The goal is to engage your stakeholders. So you have to ask them their input about this score that you have given to your impact. After that, you have to quantify and share your impact. So by quantifying, we are talking about tracking the key data, like if I take the example of the carbon emission, I want to track my scope 1, scope 2 and scope 3 GHG emission. And the goal is in the ESG app, the goal is to try to have the most quantitative data as possible that we can calculate based on the integration of the other apps. And you have to compare this quantitative data over time, but also with the different benchmarks. And then, last step, you have to generate your CSRD report. So with Odoo, you can be European compliant, and we have structured this tool with the ESRD standard. And then you will receive a digital report, and the goal of Odoo is also to provide you a XBRL format. So what's this format? This format helps for auditor to audit quickly your report. And so by doing that, I won't explain all details, but we will link, if you want, your report with this ESRD code, so that your report could be readable by a machine and could be audited easily. And last thing, this kind of report, you have to publish it annually. So now, let's go into the app. First, I will show you, as I said, as you want to report quantitative data, we have developed a way to measure the social data. So you can have your gender parity in the app, thanks to the integration with employee app. You can also see this breakdown per leadership level, department, job position, contact type. So all this kind of data can be reported and make sense for this CSRD reporting. So if I click on leadership level and group by sex, I can see that it's good to have female, but if you have women in the first position, it could mean that in the board you have only men, which is not really good for your diversity in your company. Then you have the pay gap. The pay gap is the difference between a salary of men and women for the same job. So, for example, here we can see that a consultant earns, a male consultant earns 4,000 euro per month, and for a female is 4,800. In that case, it's cool. No, just kidding. No, the goal is to have equal, of course. So if you come back to the dashboard, you will have, and this is good, you will have the final pay gap. So the pay gap about all your company, because I just see a pay gap into a department, which is also good, but the goal is to have it for all your company. And then it's cool also to report on your data, but it's much better to act on them. So for that one, we have only display the project application directly on the ESG app. So you will be able to have all the good feature of project to organize efficiently your initiative inside your company. So we have only add a new field like the reduce emission, so that you can put like an estimation. Okay, if I'm doing that in my company, I will be able to reduce of X amount of kilo of CO2 equivalent. Of course, this won't have any impact on your carbon footprint, because as we'll calculate the carbon footprint in real time. If you act on something, you will be able to see directly the impact on the graph. Okay, so now let's jump into the CSRD. So this is the first step. So you have all questions about your company. So you can define your sector based on the NAS sector. You can put your size, currency, revenue, and put a small description of your core business. Then we have already implemented some templated question about your value chain so that the tool can guide you towards this process. As this questions are linked to what you have already in your database, the goal is to directly take the data from your database to put them inside this reporting directly. So I can see that this tool has already defined the key customer of your company. You can have your critical material, but also the country where you are operate. And when you have done that, then you can generate your ESRs. How it generates ESRs? So thanks to the AI, we will send all what you have put in that step to send it to the AI, and AI has already all the EFRAG knowledge and also the ESRs list. So the output of this button will be the ESRs code just there. So you will have all your pre-selection, if you want, to all the ESRs and also the impact risk opportunity that could be relevant for your company. So based on your sector, your value chain, and so on. Then I can modify this list, of course, and it's really encouraged because this tool is here to help you, to guide you also with AI, but the goal is that in each step is still a company work. So you have to work on it, and you have to add, of course, your input and the input of your stakeholder. So, for example, I can delete some of them. I also do that so that it takes less time to do the double materiality, to be honest. Here you can also, here I want to add a new one. So here you have all the list of the ESRs, so the topic, the ESG topic. You can select one to say that, okay, they didn't talk about the energy consumption, but I know that in Odoo I have to talk about it. So I can select energy consumption, I can select it, I can say that, okay, there is a risk, and I can add the consumption and a risk on my finance, for example. Then, based on that list, I will assess my double materiality, and so this double materiality will be based on your new list that you have updated, and also still with your value chain. So now I have my double materiality. There is 2 columns for the impact severity and the financial impact. And when you click on one, you will have a wizard with more different scores that will help you to give this note. So if you have to note and to evaluate the impact severity of a specific point, you have to answer to these 4 questions about the scale, the scope, the irremediability. So everything is in Odoo, and you can put your note here, and it will the impact severity will take the average of all that score to have a final score concerning your impact. Then you have the financial severity that you can also put. And here is just a justification. If a topic is not relevant for your company, you have to say, okay, this topic is not relevant, and I will justify it. And this justification will be take for the report. So now, as I said, I won't do that alone. So I want to do a stakeholder review. So for that one, I will click on my stakeholder review, and thanks to the survey app, we will be able to send the list that we have already assessed to specific stakeholder. So I have to put a deadline, so I want to have the answer for that date. I will put one stakeholder, for example, and when you click on that, I can see that I have one stakeholder review that I have already sent, but I still have 0 answer. I just want to show you in real time the survey. So, up, perfect. And now if I go to my email, up. Here is the survey that a stakeholder will receive based on my email. So I can start the survey, and here is still in development, so we have to change some title, but here is all your list in form of question, and as I am stakeholder, I will have to answer to this question. So in my opinion, what's the doable materiality of all of these topics? So I will assess them. Normally you should that less quick, but up. I submit my my survey, and then if I come back to my ESG app and go to my CSRD report, in the materiality I can apply directly the stakeholder score. And when I do that, you can see that all the score reported in the survey is directly on that list, and the checkbox of the double materiality is checked if the average of the score that you have put and the score of your stakeholder is more than 3. Like the scale of the double materiality is 1 to 5. So as it's 3, it means that it's relevant for my company, and I will have to report on it and to add it on my CSRD. So yeah, this is the quantitative data that we have talked about. So you have your emission, and so this field, of course, take the information directly from what you have already calculated. And then you have also different other data, like the energy consumption, the water withdrawal, the total waste generated. And for that you can add the data directly here. But maybe it could be also complicated for you to know everything. So you have to ask a colleague that is more that know more about the percentage of renewable energy. So I can send a message here, for example, like here, Marc Demo, could you check the renewable energy? And when I post on it, he will receive a notification, and the goal is like to keep track on all the information that we have already sent and the answer that you are waiting to continue your report, and just to bring all together in one place. Yes, and now you want to generate your report. So you generate your report, and so for that one, you can see that there is a CSRD report generated based on all the work that you have done on the CSRD process. So all the information that you have put will be taken here, and of course, as the AI help us, there will you can have some text, some graph also, but the goal is to work on it, of course. Like, normally, I don't know, but a CSRD report could take 3 months for someone, and thanks to Odoo, as we want to guide the user directly, show the different steps, and try to collect all data, we can I don't know, it's an approximation, but we can work on it during 2 weeks instead of 3 months, and have a good report that you can submit to the authorities. Okay, that's it for the demo. So that's finished. Thank you for your attention, and happy to listen if you have any question. Don't hesitate.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I think we already have a few questions from the audience. The first question they ask is if the app will be available in the community version, or is it only in the enterprise version of Odoo?
As we take some data from accounting, it's in enterprise version.
Okay. You've talked about the export possibility of the data to external auditors. There's a question about that. Like, is it possible to easily extract the data and send it to external auditors?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Is it possible to extract the data from the ESG app to send it to auditors?
Yes, of course. I mean, for the carbon footprint, you have the carbon footprint ready to use, and for the CSRD, we will work on this XBRL format, and with that, it will be possible to submit it directly to the audit.
Thank you. There is a question also about the pay gap that is recorded for your own employees within Odoo. But what about the circumstances of workers in the supply chain or your partners, the people you work with? Is it also covered in the app, or can we integrate that somehow?
At this moment, it's not taken into account in the pay gap, but you can inform it directly in the value chain because it's an info that the AI could take directly from here. But as it's a new app, I'm always happy to hear from your feedback, and if I can add all the as much data as I can inside the ESG to help report on the ESG impact, I'm happy to. So don't hesitate to contact me if you have any idea or something that is missing.
Thank you. Is it possible to change the numbers in the emission, or is it locked of the sources from the database, or can we adjust that as well?
But it's a good question. So it's not locked, but if you change an emission factor, it won't change your past emission. Because, for example, if you have a new factor emission because there is a change, I don't know, for electricity, for example, if you change this emission factor, you won't change the history emission. And you can also add emission manually. So if something, for example, the employee lunch is difficult to measure, you can add it directly on the ESG app. And for that kind of emission, as it's not really calculated automatically, you can change directly on the app.
There's a question about a project for ESG linked to the Odoo Community Association. Is there a connection between that project and the Odoo Community Association and ESG app or not?
No, there is no link.
Is it possible to customize the template of the carbon footprint report? The template that is created, is it customizable?
No, at this moment it's not possible, but I can add it.
Also, you talked about the fact that it will be mainly available in 19.1
Yes.
or version 19. Can you re-clarify?
Yes, of course.
What will be available when, and if you have an idea of 19.1, when it will be available?
Yes, no, it's a good question. So for the carbon footprint, everything that I showed you is available in 19 version for carbon footprint, but also the social data. But for the CSRD reporting, so everything concerning the CSRD report, this will be available in 19.1 version. So will be available around, I don't know, I don't want to promise you, but finger crossed, around December, January. 2025.
Thank you.
And also the AI tool that will help you to map your emission factor. So this is also a new feature that we will develop for 19.1 version.
Yeah, regarding the databases that are used to have the carbon footprint emission, there's only two. Is there
Yes.
projects to add others, or and maybe why you chose those sources?
Good question. So yes, I want to add more. Like I have choose to add these two databases because thanks to these two databases, it covers really like a international level. Like we have the IPCC and the ADEME, so the main like the main ones. But the goal is to integrate new database about specific zone, geographic zone, but also specific sector. But for the data set, it's a little bit complicated because as there is no API to extract data, we try to make it as easier for you to just download it. So it's for that it's sometimes difficult to find the data, but yeah, I'm happy to know if you have any idea about some database. We have already some idea, but it will come.
In the suggestion, in the initiatives that you showed in the project view, will Odoo make suggestions to improve things in the company? Or is it things that you have to put yourself and say, okay, I want to improve on that and I log it myself? Or will Odoo suggest initiatives?
So at this moment, no. And I don't think that is the direction that we want to take, because in my opinion, Odoo will be able to give you all the data, like just to automate what could be automated. But I don't think that we want to replace like expert or consultant that really have this knowledge and can really guide companies toward this transition. So for that, I don't think that we are legit to advise how to change the world.
Thank you. Maybe the last question is, can we talk to you after this session, and where are you located so people can...
So not far away. I'm just the booth in front of the room, so don't hesitate. I will go right after the talk. So yes, we don't have a lot of time for questions, but if you have or if you want to jump into ESG for a specific case, I will be happy to see that with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.